What makes a good English teacher? The first and main important skill that you should be able to master as a good English teacher, a great one, is of course on the language itself. Because you are teaching English, for certain, language proficiency and knowledge is the utmost importance in terms of mastering this skill as an English teacher. Okay, so I'm going to dive into this one by one when it comes to language proficiency, because we're going to zoom into what linguistic competence is as an English teacher. For the other skills, it is equally important, but I'm not going to touch so much on the skills. Okay, another necessary skill of making yourself a great English teacher is on the pedagogical skills. And I feel that having this pedagogical skill is very, very important when it comes to what is the right method and the best method for you to bring into your classroom, while not just focusing on your linguistic skill, while not just focusing on the content or subject matter of the English subject, but on how and the way as to how you conduct your class and your pedagogy, the teaching and learning experience. Okay, so that is what we call the pedagogical skills. Okay, and living in a digital world nowadays where you are teaching digital natives, so these are what we call the alpha generation, or the generation before that, the Gen Z, okay, what we call it, the famous, the popular ones. And I feel that your students belong in this generation as well, where they are called digital natives. So digital natives is when they were actually born where technology and the digitalized world is already in existence. So me myself, I come from a millennial generation. So we experience traditional classroom teaching and also having exposure to technology as well. So um, I feel that we are very good in terms of adapting ourselves into digital technology as well. So, one essential and necessary skill as a good teacher is, of course, on digital skills. Okay, so how to operate a computer, how to present slides using not just, back in our day, maybe it was using PPT, right? Like PowerPoint slides. But nowadays, we are shifting into a more collaborative tool. For example, you can use Google Slides because it allows for more collaboration, real time, and digital skills like using Canva and other applications, and design softwares, or even AI. AI actually helps in terms of using or creating presentations for you as teachers. Okay, I know that you are very busy. I feel that Malaysia and Indonesia is not very far in terms of our experience as teachers in schools. We don't have many time. We don't have much time to create, you know, um, even materials, teaching materials that are too fancy, because we have other workload to do, right? So, in terms of digital skills, it really needs a lot of practice in order to become masterful and very quick in using technology in the classroom. Okay, another necessary skill which I feel is very, very much a part of you as a teacher is your values, your set of values, your set of soft skills. And this also involves, what types of soft skills do you think? Maybe we can think about empathy, okay? Being empathetic to your students, being respectful to your students. So these are the positive values that you can actually share and model to your students while in the classroom to motivate them more. So it's not just about sharing content, sharing what is your expertise in the English language in the classroom, and deciding on what is the best method for you to teach and for the students to learn in class. That is pedagogical skills. But you also need to shape your character as well as a teacher. So having these essential soft skills are very, very much important and necessary. Okay, to shape you to become, what do we call in Bahasa Malaysia, we call this roh roh keguruan, roh guru. So you can have this amount of knowledge of the linguistic aspect of the English language, of the subject matter. You can have great pedagogical skills, but if you do not have the roh keguruan, roh seorang pendidik, then it doesn't make you wholesome as a good quality teacher. Okay, next is when what we mean by okay, another necessary skill for you to become a good quality English teacher is for you to be able to come up with different strategies as to how you would manage your class more effectively. So classroom management is also very, very important. Okay, it's how you shape yourself and mold yourself to become a teacher that is respected in the class, and you'd be able to, but at the same time you are stern and you are firm in your way of teaching, but also at the same time you are flexible and you are accessible to the students as well. This is also what we call classroom management, a part of classroom management. Okay, this how to make your classroom, especially your English classroom experience with your students, a meaningful experience for them, is not through the dissemination of knowledge only, not just to impart knowledge. It's a one-sided relationship, but it is also important to understand that student engagement is also very, very important as a necessary skill to make you a good teacher. So, how engaged are your students in your lessons? Or are they just passive? Well, this can be sometimes the condition by which students are like that. Maybe sometimes in your lessons, okay. But oftentimes we, as good teachers, we have to try to strategize and come up with creative ideas as to how we could get our lessons to be more interesting, more creative, in order to get the students' attention and engagement. So this requires a lot of what do you call this? A lot of preparation on your part, a lot of materials that are varied so that the students will be more interested with your lesson and they will be more engaged with your lesson. It's not just about the materials that you provide, but also the delivery, how you deliver your lessons, and not just how you deliver the lessons, but their acceptability, how their acceptance of your lesson, how they respond to your questions. That would give a signal whether they are paying attention, they are engaged in your lesson or not. So we might want to practice a certain um, methodologies or techniques as to how we can get the students more engaged, maybe through our materials, okay, our teaching aids, or possibly from your character as well. If you're like, full of humor, you are a funny teacher, this can get the students engaged as well. So this is not just about you pretending to be a person, a good teacher, but you yourself, your character, your identity speaks for itself when it comes to the student relationship, student teacher relationship, and engagement in class. Okay, the next necessary skill to be very much a crucial part of you as being a good English teacher is on cultural sensitivity and adaptability. So I believe that in your aspect, maybe in the context of Indonesia, you come from a multitude of ethnicities and therefore you have different cultures, right? Subcultures, what we mean, okay? Subcultures within one culture. So uh, being exposed to different cultures and subcultures is actually a plus point for you because you'd be able to be more sensitive and you are aware of the different intercultural communication skills. Okay, what are the strategies as to how to communicate with different cultures, within different cultures, or amongst different cultures, and you being able to adapt to um, the current conditions. So this involves a little bit of knowledge when it comes to world knowledge and general knowledge of yours. So learning all this and being able to be sharp in you understanding your students, especially when you get to know them, that they come from, a different generation than you. So you are open to adapting to their style of learning. So different individuals have different styles, learning styles, and different learning strategies as well. Your ability to adapt to this situation gives you a great plus point in terms of becoming a good, effective English teacher. Okay, now zooming into English teachers' linguistic knowledge. Okay, coming back to the topic on English teachers' linguistic knowledge. So we must understand what is language first. I feel that this is very important for us to just recap. I know you are a master student already, so of course it's not new to you, but it's good to just recap and relearn on what is essentially makes up a language, right? So so I based this book. This is my go-to book, yeah, Language by Fromkin, Rodman and Hines. So this is the book, our textbook, right, in Malaysia, and also it's not textbook in Malaysia, meaning that in schools, but in my course lah, in my course in university. Okay, so I teach introduction to linguistics. So this is my go-to book. So according to Fromkin, Rodman and Himes, language is made up of two systems: the system of sound, which is phonology, and the system of meaning, which is semantics. So if it's like a jumbled up, what do you call this? It's just consisting of random letters, right? So we have A, B, C until Z. And then we know how to learn through, I'm not sure if it's in the Indonesian education system where in during the early childhood education, the young learners, the young children, they are exposed to phonics, right? Like the sound of letters. But in Malaysia, yes, that is our standing. Where in ECCE, early childhood education, we expose our children, young kids, to the learning of phonics. So how do you sound letters and make up words? So that is part of literacy as well, early literacy. So this is a system of sound, but if you just understand how to say cha or ka, right? Or ABC, but you don't assign any type of meaning to it, then it is not what you call language. It's just like a bunch of random symbols or what we call semiotics, right? But if it is assigned with meaning, and that is what makes up a language. Okay, so the word bus, b, bus, bus. Okay, bus. So that is the sound of it, bus. But if you don't attach any meaning to it, it's just random letters just attached together. It's just combined together into a random a sign or symbol. But if you assign a meaning to it, also it's a type of transportation. Okay, so that is what we call semantics. So it's the connection between these two systems that is essential for meaning making. So when we talk about linguistic competence, what is a linguistic competence? So this is a speaker's unconscious knowledge of rules and structures of their language. So this is the keyword here, unconscious knowledge. Okay, this is aligned to Noam Chomsky's theory of generative grammar that distinguishes between linguistic competence and linguistic performance. So linguistic competence is by which a speaker internalizes their grammatical system of the language. So that makes a person competent in their language when they know all the rules of the grammatical system, and all the rules of the language. Okay, so that is competence. Linguistic performance is how language is actually used in real situations, which can be affected by memory, distractions. So these are all factors that could be a form of distractions. But performance is essentially how you actually practically make use of your linguistic competence, of your knowledge of the linguistic components of your grammar system, of how to form sentences, of how to communicate, how to form words even. Okay, so this is what we call the performance. So what we mean by linguistic competence is when a speaker of a certain language is competent in terms of their accuracy, which is a linguistic competence, and also their fluency, which is linguistic performance. Okay, so how you perform or use the language in real life, that is linguistic performance. Okay, so when we dive in further into linguistic competence, they are divided into different components, linguistic components. And one of it is phonological component. So phonological component is the knowledge of the sound system. So for English speakers, we have the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet System. Okay, so the symbols are a bit different than the orthographic alphabet, which we are more familiar with, A, B, C, D, until Z, right? But in English, we have the IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet System. So they consist of a different consonant symbols and also a vowel system as well. So the vowels have monophthongs and also diphthongs as well, right? So I'm not sure about Indonesia, but Malaysia, we don't have this symbol here. We don't have the third sound. So it is a bit difficult when it comes to English learners and also English speakers in Malaysia, because they tend to, I think this is based on, this is actually based on research, yeah, by Malaysian linguists, that in Manglish, which is what we call Malaysian variety of English, Malaysian English, Manglish, um, when it comes to students understanding or learning the third sound of the English language, it is a bit difficult because of the linguistic interference, apa tu, the interference of the first language transfer. Okay, because we don't have that third sound, and we don't even know what the symbol is. Okay, in our alphabet, in our Malay alphabet, that's why our students speaking English, our Malay students, they tend to simplify it with what they know from the Malay language. So for think, usually they won't say think, they would say I think. They would loosen up or weaken the third sound and make it into a t sound. So this is in the Malaysian context, because this is how it is, because that's how you learn actually. You try to find the similarities and differences between your L1 and your L2, or maybe your other other second languages that you know, maybe L3 or more. Okay, so your first language is Malay, example. Okay, your first language is Malay, your second language is English. But because there are something that is new in English, you try to find a similarity between the language that you already know from birth, from young. So this is what we call interlanguage. Okay, so you trying to accommodate your existing knowledge in your first language to the second language. That is the bridge, what we call interlanguage. And then you become more competent. That is when your interlanguage or the bridge actually phases out, and you become more competent in your second language. So, phonological awareness is a complex linguistic capability that involves the ability to break down and reconstruct sounds into words. So, phonological knowledge, I feel that is very important to equip yourself as an English teacher yourself, because you don't have, you cannot just be aware of, you don't just need to possess the knowledge of English phonology, but you also have to understand whether the students are aware or not of these phonological differences. Okay. All right, let's move on to morphological competence. So, do you have a question? Okay, you okay? All right. So you feel free, okay? Feel free to ask anything, yeah? If along the way, if you have any questions, just unmute and we can have a discussion, okay? All right. So morphological competence refers to the understanding of word formation. So morphemes are the minimal unit of meaning. For example, the most minimal morpheme is the R sound. The R sound actually carries meaning. When it is attached to a meaning, it means what? What is R? R is an article, right? It's an article. It refers to one. It refers to one. Okay, so is actually the smallest unit of meaning in the English language. So this is what we call morpheme. So when we break down a word into smaller units, they consist of morphemes. Okay, so just a recap here. I'm sure that you already know the you have the linguistic skills of this already, but just a recap, a refresher. Okay, so there's two different categories of morphemes. We have bound morphemes and we have free morphemes. And on top of the bound morphemes, we have derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes as well. So in the Malay influenced English, what we call Manglish, um, this is a bit hard because you can form words to actually assign meaning to it as well. So she go already instead of she has gone, because we already know that go is used contextually in the Malaysian context. So we already know that it is formed because of and it carries a certain meaning as well. Now let's move on to syntactic competence. So for syntactic competence, this refers to the sentence structure. So um, for the English language, we have the subject verb agreements. Okay, subject SVO, subject verb object rule. Okay, so that is how you form a sentence in the English language. Um, Example, the subject is I, and then the verb is eat, and the object is rice. So I eat rice. So that is how sentences are formed in the English language. So, okay, what is unique about Malaysia is that we have a blend of different ethnicities and races. So we don't just consist of Malays, but we also have Indians, Chinese, and other Bumi Putra as well. Okay, so um, this is an example of how it is a bit difficult for Malaysian learners to understand the sentence structure or the rule of the English language when it comes to sentence structure, because in their first language, which is Tamil for Indian descent, for the Indians, in their first language, which is Tamil, it doesn't follow the SVO rule. It instead follows the SOV rule. So when they learn the English language, they will make inaccuracies and mistakes. Okay. For example, I eat rice becomes I rice eat because of their limited linguistic knowledge of their second language, which is English. Therefore, they try to associate the rules of their first language to the second language, and that is why mistakes happen. Mistakes happen, but eventually it will be phased out when corrective feedback is given, and that is the role of the teacher there. Okay. All right. Semantic competence. Okay, semantic competence refers to meaning. Okay, so knowing word meanings and the relationship. For example, BANK. Okay, so this is a string of symbols. Okay, or letters combined together to make a word. So this is the word bank. But what is the assigned meaning to it? It means that it has a financial. It is a financial institution or a river edge. So we can also find there are two meanings. So a riverbank can also be used in the context of a river to describe a river's edge. So there are different or categories or classifications of semantic meaning. So we have semantic meaning versus social meaning. So I feel that maybe it's important for us as English teachers to be adaptable in understanding our students. Okay, so I know that you are teaching um Gen Z students, yeah, Gen Z students. So apparently they have come up with a whole linguistic system of their own when it comes to word meaning, word formation, and assigning meaning to the word. So the word is already formed, okay? But assigning a different semantic meaning for a social one is different according to generations. Okay, so that's what I learned. Okay, so what I learned from my students is that the word slay. Okay, I don't know if you are you know this, but the word slay here, the semantic meaning for this is to kill violently, to slay the throat. Okay, of a person, to kill violently, to slay. But the social meaning, when it comes to generational gap and Generation Z's language, they actually mean something else. So this is when we associate semantic meaning versus social meaning. The social meaning to this, that it only appeals to the social group lah, which is the Generation Z. Slay actually means to do something exceptionally well. Ah, this is interesting because it's completely contrasting. For semantic meaning, slay, to kill violently, this means like it's a very negative word, right? But semantically, in Gen Z language, it's actually a positive word. So, okay, I'm going to show you a video. I'm not sure if this works in Zoom, but I will try it. I'm going to show you a video of dated words of Gen Z language. So let's take a look. Okay, can you see?
Yeah, we
Can
got
you
it.
see my screen? You got it, yeah? Okay, good. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
All right, we got it. Good. All
Okay,
good. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's no sound, yeah, I think.
Oh, no sound?
Yeah. At the first video we get a sound, but no, we don't hear it.
Oh, you don't hear anything. Okay,
Yeah, the voice.
let me try. Let me try to adjust the setting. Can you hear it? Can you hear it now, or is it still muted?
Not yet, miss.
Not yet, okay. It's okay. I will. Where's the settings? Okay. Okay, I'll go to the settings. Okay, I will share the sound. Okay. Okay, let's try again, all right?
These slang words are evolving
Okay, can you
Yes,
hear
yes,
the video?
yes.
Okay, all right.
faster than people change their undergarments. So here are some updated Gen Z words that maybe you should know. So this might be a shock to you, but slay, it is so out. It is so cringe now. It's literally ugh. Now you use the word ate. So it's like you ate, she ate, they ate, everyone ate. So second word that is out is let him cook, which is being replaced by gas him up, which really just means hyping someone up, or like praising them or like supporting them. The third word is no cap, which is being replaced by on God, which means no lie. So for instance, I am not wearing any makeup on God. So now people don't use LOL anymore. When something is funny, you just write help, but it has to be all in caps. Help lah, help, how to keep up. And lastly, we have touch grass, which basically is telling someone who's spending too much time online to go outside for some fresh air and be in the real world, to put away all those online activities, like how I'm still using my phone now. I really should go outside and touch some grass. Gen
Okay,
Z
so okay, how do I go back? All right, is this one right? Okay, am I on the right screen here? You can see my slides, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So,
Yes, all good. Yeah.
great, thank you. Okay, so this means that, okay, my current understanding of slay is to do something exceptionally well. So I have just acquired that from or learned that from my students. Okay, slay, the word slay. But then I realized that okay, it's always up to date. So now Gen Z, they dated their word. So they no longer use slay, but they instead replace it with ate. And ate in its semantic meaning is have eaten, right? The past tense of eat. So apparently this is what makes language very, very interesting. And if you are interested with the research on language, um, you have to understand that it is it is evolving. It is evolving over time, and it's always dynamic in the sense that it allows for a change, okay, in terms of word formation, in terms of the semantic association to words or existing words that were formed before. So this is very, very interesting. So if you are, your master students, if you are interested with the lingo of generations of the new generation, the digital natives, this is something that you might want to research on. Okay, so we got all of these slangs and whatnot, not just from the exposure by the people, the younger people, but also from research as well, linguistic research by linguists. So this is certainly a very good area for you to explore if you are into language. All right, next, pragmatic competence. Okay, so we've learned that, okay, semantic competence means that you are able to assign meaning to the same word, different meanings to the same word, and you are updated in your knowledge of social meaning, okay, how it is used socially, okay, especially in social media, okay. Um, but now there's another component of language that is equally important, which is pragmatic competence. Okay, so using language appropriately in context is very, very important. Okay, you should be able to have that knowledge and also that tactfulness in terms of reading the room. So if you come into a lesson, a classroom, you already know that you are in a school, you are in a formal institution. So of course you would rely on the English standard, the standard variety of the English language when you conduct your lessons because it's a formal place. Okay. However, um, your tactfulness and also how you are able to read a room in terms of the use of by the people interacting with you, that is another skill that you should have equipped as an English teacher. So when to use formal language with your students and when to use slang or informal language with the people interacting with you. It could be students, it could be people outside of the classroom, maybe your acquaintances, your friends, okay? So this is what we call pragmatic use of the language. So we have this diaxis. It's from a Greek word, which means pointing. So this refers to words or phrases whose meaning depends on the context of the utterance. So who is speaking, where and when is the utterance happening, and the physical or socials attached or associated to the utterance. These are ways as you would use appropriate words and phrases. Okay, so these words point to elements in the communication context and cannot be understood without it. Okay, I'm going to show you what we mean by pragmatic competence and a person diaxis. Person diaxis means the pronoun, the use of pronoun and using it in context. Okay.
We'll be asking the questions, old man. Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up. You.
Yes?
Not you, him. What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you.
I am me. He's me. And I'm you.
Okay, this can actually lead to confusion, because of the personalities. Even the name of a person could get you confused, okay? In terms of using the correct way and interpreting someone's utterance as well. So this needs a little bit of more context. So this person here, he doesn't understand the context that the pronoun you can actually mean a name of a Chinese person. Okay. So he does not have that understanding, or maybe that initial idea that could happen, right? So yeah, so that's why the miscommunication could happen. So pragmatic competence is very, very important and a large part of using language practically. Okay, now we've gone through all of the discussion on the linguistic aspect. Okay, linguistic competence are needed for an English teacher. Now let's take you all back to how an English teacher is seen as a good quality teacher in Malaysia. Okay, so when we talk about the phenomenon in Malaysia, um, it is actually binded in the blueprint, in our education blueprint under the Ministry of Education, where it is, how you say this? It is for the reason of, for the purpose of empowering our English teachers and making sure that our English teachers are up to a certain standard in order for them to be seen as a good quality English teacher. So how do we do this? We trace our teachers in terms of their proficiency of the English language. And how do we do that? We track them based on the CEFR framework. Okay. Maybe we can have a discussion about this, whether in Indonesia, what is the situation and whether you are familiar with the CEFR framework. But in Malaysia, it has undergone a significant amount of training and familiarization workshops and training in order to be for English teachers and English lecturers as well in university to understand what CFR framework is. So what is CEFR framework? It's a guideline used to describe language proficiency across different languages. And it provides a common basis for learning, teaching, and assessing language skills. So the CFR aims to create a standardized way to describe language ability, facilitating communication and collaboration amongst educators, the learners, and assessment bodies across different languages and countries. And the CFR framework has 6 levels from A1 beginner to C2, which is advanced or proficient. Okay. So in the Malaysian context, the English teacher is seen as a good English teacher and having advanced knowledge and skills in terms of their proficiency of the English language in order to be able to teach our students, our students in school. Therefore, in order to do that, how can we ensure that our English teachers are at a par in terms of proficiency of the English language itself? We made it. The Malaysian Education Ministry has made it compulsory for all English teachers teaching English in primary school and in secondary school to be able to achieve the C1 and C2 mastery of proficiency, according to the CEFR band level. So this is the performance and this is the bands or the levels of under CAFR. So if you are A1, it is assumed that you are just beginning your journey towards learning the English language. So in Malaysia, we have categorized this A1 and A2 students, A1 especially, to be at kindergarten level, meaning preschool. Preschool level, they are users at A1 level of the English language. And A2 and B1 is more towards primary school, sekolah dasar, sekolah dasar. B1 and B2 intermediate and upper intermediate are secondary school level, level, and C1 and C2 are university level and a professional level. Okay, so this is our standard here in Malaysia. We aim to obtain um, to get all of our English teachers to obtain the C1 and C2 levels. C2 it's not a requirement yet, but if you do achieve the C2, then that is incredible. So C2 is actually, I would say, it leverages to IELTS is it band as band eight and above. C1 is band seven, okay, and for IELTS. So that is how they kind of like um, align or integrate between different linguistic assessments, language assessments that we have in the world. We have a TOEFL, we have IELTS, we have CEFR as well. So CFR is just the framework, but the bands actually communicate or is visualized through the proficiency level lah. Okay, so C1 for English teachers. So here in UPSI, we train our students to become English teachers in secondary school, but not primary school. Primary school, it's handled by another institution, which is what we call the IPG, Institute Pendidikan Guru. They are in charge of primary education, sekolah dasar, primary education. But for us, menengah, sekolah menengah dan sekolah menengah atas, secondary school, we actually produce English teachers for secondary school. So for secondary school, even our students who enrolled in our TESOL program from year one, they are expected to achieve a C1 by the end of their graduation, or else they cannot graduate. They have to obtain the C1 level in order for them to be able to be recruited as teachers in our public schools, secondary schools. So that is why it is our requirement that our own students must have already obtained a C1 in order for them to graduate and become an English teacher. Okay. So how do you obtain that C1? How can you make yourself proficient enough in order for you to obtain that C1? So here are a couple of strategies that that I can maybe share with you today that could help in order to enhance our teaching quality, especially when it comes to our linguistic competence. Okay. So the first one is master the core linguistic areas. Okay, we know. Okay, I've already shown you the previous slides about the linguistic components of the English language. So you have to master the core linguistic components here. You have to improve your pronunciation. Work on your pronunciation. It's okay if you have an accent. It's okay if you have an Indonesian accent, a Malaysian accent, but it has to be somewhat standard, and so that anyone in the world can actually understand you. Okay, so improve your pronunciation, move beyond the textbook grammar systems, and use the why approach. So this is a good strategy as to why you could make your learners to become more critical in their learning the language rather than just repeating the same what do you call this, you just repeat and practice the same grammatical rules, like the pronouns I, is, I am, is for singular, you, I, you, we, is, rm, things like that. Okay, so yes, that is the traditional approach. So we have to kind of like make our students think critically. Why is this important for me to learn grammar? Why is it important? So when you try to adjust your way of teaching into somewhat of a learner-centered approach, so the students would think more critically and they'd be able to question themselves, why am I learning this? And why is it important for me to understand grammar correctly? And so yeah, by going through this approach, this will be more meaningful for you, okay, in your teaching and learning. Teach meaning in context, okay, not through the traditional method again, but getting more contextual evidences or contextual, giving like case studies or real life examples or scenarios that would relate more to your students, then I feel that it is more meaningful. For them to be able to relate to you more, to be able to be able to accept and learn from you more effectively. Okay. So teach meaning in context so that they be able to use this in their daily life in the appropriate context. Okay, apply social linguistics. Okay, the form of code switching and also translanguaging, these are good strategies for you to master and improve your your linguistic competency as an English teacher. You can actually use code switching, which is switching from your native language to English and vice versa. But I feel that there are more structured ways to do it in the classroom. And this is what we call translanguaging, which is like intentionally using different languages during the communication process and the thinking process, the cognitive process, in order to perform a task in the English classroom. So translanguaging might be a good strategy for you to use. Acknowledge standard English versus local varieties. Okay, this is also important. Because I this is why is this important is because to relate more to your student and for them not to be how do you say intimidated by you because you are too proficient in the language. However, if you get to know more about the local varieties of the English language, you'll be able to relate more to your students. Okay, utilize technology and data by using corpus linguistics data, corpus out there, the different it's a huge collection of data that serves as a how do you say this? They are categorized into patterns. So this is what we call corpus. So we have speech corpus, we have a grammar corpus as well. So how it is used in real life, okay? Teach real English, not just textbook English. And you can find this from the corpus, okay? The large amount of data that is gathered by linguists, okay? And then we have speech analysis tools like what I am showing you now. This is what we call the PRAT software, yeah. PRAAT, the PRAT software. This is a speech analysis tool that is used to it's a visual representation of your of what happens in your speech. Okay, so through this visualization, you'd be able to see what is the precise understanding and the visual representation of how you pronounce words. So get um, if you utilize this speech analysis tool, it could help you to compare between a native speaker's production of certain words or sounds and how you pronounce it, and you can better improve your pronunciation. Okay, next strategy to improve English teachers' linguistic competency is to engage in action research. I'm not sure whether Dr. Mas Latif actually encourages this for action research to be done at master's level, but this is very much encouraged, okay, especially for teachers. Because how? Because it can actually solve classroom problems with evidence. So you identify a problem in your class and you come up with a solution to it, and that is what action research is. But it just comes with a little bit of technicality where you would have to perform the intervention in various cycles in order to prove its efficiency in the classroom. So that is how you gather evidence, whether your intervention here means maybe your classroom, your teaching aid, okay, any new strategy, innovative ones that could help with classroom management or even skills, okay, improving the students' linguistic skills. So you can do this through action research. So you investigate, for example, does teaching IPA improve spelling in Malaysian students or for Malaysian students? So this could be an action research practice that you could do, and you could even publish this in journals and share this with your local community or teaching blogs. Okay, this could be helpful for other teachers to implement in their classroom as well. Okay, join professional networks. So in Malaysia, we have these workshops by foundations, Malaysian English Language Teaching Foundations, and other organizations that
Yeah.
help you to develop your skills. Okay, and you can also join more social, informal teaching groups. Stay updated and share knowledge with your peers. Okay, with other teachers. And the last one would be to teach English explicitly. So you can empower your students with language awareness through mini lessons. Okay. So when we say a university, but an hour, so uh, it's what is the rule here? So you empower students with your language
Ini kayak
awareness and
contohnya
how
kayak matkul
Google
magang.
became a verb.
Dosennya ini
So
kayak
this
adain seminar sama ibu nih.
okay.
Dibilang
So
ya
this is
ganti matkul magang
word
ya.
word formation. Okay, word formation. So how Google actually became, it's a noun, right? It's a noun, meaning it's a sister it's a, what do you call it, a search engine. Okay, Google is a search engine, but nowadays semantically it also brings the meaning of an action. Okay, the action of searching on the internet, we call it, you Google this, it becomes a verb. So teaching English explicitly with more advanced and updated knowledge of the English language and how it is used in real context in this day and age is a very important skill and a strategy for you to use to improve and enhance your English mastery in becoming a good and great English teacher. Okay, so as a conclusion, linguistics is not just about fluency, but it's about understanding how language works. So by deepening one's knowledge, teachers can explain why English works the way it does, adapt to learners' unique challenges, and make lessons more engaging and evidence-based based on your linguistic knowledge and competence. So I end my lecture today with a small quote here by Light Brown and Spada. Language teachers must themselves be advanced learners, constantly refining their knowledge of the target language and how to teach it. So with that, I end my lecture for today. I hope it is a fruitful one that you can perhaps practice and implement in yourself and in your own classroom as a great English teachers. Thank you very much.
Mashallah, tabarakallah, yeah. Thank you very much for Dr. Noor Alhusna for your very informative presentation. So I think it is now for us, it is time for question and answer. So for the participants, if you want to share your ideas or ask question, so feel free, maybe you can raise your hand or maybe you can directly ask the question to Dr. Noor. For the participants, please.
All right, maybe Melissa, you can ask Dr. Husna with the question, Melissa or others, please.
Based on the presentation, Melissa, Mr. Zamzami, Novita Ritonga, maybe? or maybe Adini. We're still waiting for this discussion.
Yeah, maybe I can start the question, giving a question for Dr. Husna, yeah, Pak Bahrul.
Okay, sir. Go
For
on.
the time, Dr. Husna, it is very important for your explanation about the IELTS band level, yeah. So, so is it actually actually written on the education policy in Malaysian country? Teacher should be mastery the IELTS band level, or it just depend on the university or the school that that it is something like a requirement to be a teacher, or how? IELTS band, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Maslati, for the question. Okay, in Malaysian context, it started as just like a pilot study, whether Malaysia is getting ready, is able to accept CAFR as a framework of and is considered a standard in Malaysia. However, based on the national research done at national level of English teachers, led by the unit in the Ministry of Education, um, based on the grants of the research, the findings suggest that there should need some form of a standard framework to be based on as a guideline or a baseline to empower our quality teachers. What makes up a teacher, an English teacher of great quality? If the teachers themselves are proficient, and how do you assess that? Through CFR. Okay, so that is how Cambridge came in. Cambridge, UK, they came in and they offered this APTIS test. So APTIS test, eventually in 2021, it became written in the policy under the Ministry of Education that um, future English teachers or novice teachers, yeah, who are applying to become in-service teachers of the English language, and their option and the specialization is English, they have to already obtain that C1 level. Although we do have a Malaysian standard, so in Malaysia, we already have what we call the MUET examination, Malaysian English test, Malaysian English test. But however, we feel that although it is aligned to the CFR framework, most of the students, they are not able to achieve that band, which is a band 5 out of 6 bands for under MUET. Originally, the ministry, they rely on that. They rely on that test app only. But because of Cambridge and how it developed the CFR framework as a standard framework that could be used worldwide, we feel that it's not just useful for us to be able to test our English teachers whether they have already reached that proficiency of the English language, but it's also a plus point for them if they were to go and teach outside of Malaysia.
Okay.
So if they, if this is ample opportunity for them, we're giving them this opportunity because they are already proficient. And how can we test that? Because it is being proven through the world standard, which is the CEFR standard. So this is actually applied in other Southeast Asian regions like Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Thailand. Okay, so in Southeast Asian regions, they also acknowledge CEFR as the global standard. So in terms of employability of English teachers, if you reach that certain level, then you are qualified to become an English teacher outside of Malaysia. So we offer that to our English teachers as well, not just in terms of uplifting their quality in terms of the language proficiency, but also their future employment outside of Malaysia. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is written in the as a policy under the Ministry of Education since 2021. So we are aggressively trying to obtain that number of 100% achievement of C1 band of proficiency for our English teachers.
Thank you.
Mm. Mm-mm.
That's very awesome, Dr. Husna.
Yeah. What about in Indonesia? I mean, is there like a certain standard or
Yeah,
qualification in terms of proficiency?
yeah. Especially in Indonesia, I'll let you know when I am speaking in students, yeah, for specific purposes. But if it is comparing to Indonesia, I think
Mm-mm.
Indonesia position, yeah, a little bit low with Malaysia, because here
Mm.
we already have the a specific test before becoming a teacher. One who
Mm-mm.
graduated from university, then if they want to become a teacher, they should join the specific qualification for teacher, namely PPG,
Oh.
is just for teacher, but
Ah.
not regarding the IELTS band, something like that, not regarding the TOEFL
Oh.
test, TOEIC test, and etc. There is no specification for that.
Oh, I see.
Maybe I can propose this situation to our
Oh,
government. And
yeah, most definitely.
yeah,
But I
we do
think that
understand that IELTS is very important to
it
know
is.
some
Yeah.
qualities in English, right?
You have a personal experience, or else you wouldn't be, studying
Yeah.
in Australia, right?
Okay. Okay.
But I think that
Dr.
there might
Husna,
be, yeah.
Dr. Husna. So, how your university, especially
Mm-mm.
Sultan Education University, engage with the government policy with this? I mean, my question is, do the test for English proficiency test, IELTS,
Mm-mm.
TOEIC, etc.
Mm-mm.
It is done in the university or after they graduated from the university?
Oh, okay. So, let me, explain about what happens
Okay.
before they enter university. So,
Right.
usually before they enter
Oh,
university for bachelor's degree,
oh,
students need to sit for the MUET test. MUET
mhm.
test is the
Oh, yeah.
Malaysian University
I see.
English
Huh?
test.
Right.
So, if they are able to achieve a band 4 out of 6 levels, 6 bands, if they are able to achieve band 4 or
Band
4.5,
four.
four,
Right.
4 or
4.5.
4.5, then they are eligible to apply for TESOL program, teaching in
Oh,
English, teaching
oh,
of
oh,
English as a second language. Yes, our
right.
TESOL program.
Mhm.
But if they have already obtained a band 5, which is aligned to the CEFR band level of C1 already, so
Yeah.
it's always already plus point because as they enter our university, they have already achieved the graduation requirement.
Mhm.
So there's no problem for them. But for our students who come in with a lower band, like band 4 or 4.5, then we will equip them with a training
Mhm. Mhm.
how to sit for the APTIS test under British Council in Malaysia. And from time to time, we will offer slots and sponsor them in terms of the fees. Because, fees are very expensive. IELTS is about like 700, 800 now, ringgit, Malaysia. But for APTIS test, it's just 350. But we give them like a subsidy. We sponsor half and they pay half of it. And we will group them together, especially those who are nearly in their final year, and they need to graduate. So we will help them. We will help them to bring them to British Council and sit for the test. Within 2 weeks, they'll be able to get their results. And if they obtain a C1, they can graduate straight away. So these are what we have lined up for them in terms of what are the support and aid that we can give to them in order for them to be able to achieve. But ideally, that is the case because they're in their entry level at maybe 19, 20 years old in year one. When they go through our program, which is a 4-year program, it should be that they have improved their English because
Oh.
it took them 4 years. It takes
Mhm.
them 4 years. So all of our courses, our major ones, our minor ones, are all conducted in English. How can you not achieve that level, right? So that is what we foresee, that it will take you 4 years to polish up your English level so that you'd be able to achieve a higher band than the one that you entered with. So
Oh,
yeah, so that is some form of support that we will give in terms of training and in terms of financial aid as well when it comes to sitting for the test as well. And in their first semester and second semester, we have already exposed to them a course. It's part of their major course that they have to take, which involves the skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills to improve their proficiency. And we align all of our content materials for that course with C1 level, so that they are exposed to the linguistic skills, the language skills at C1 level already from their first and second semester as they enter our program. So these are all our efforts lah, to help with our students.
Oh my God, yes, that's very, very good. So the government will directly what accept, what happened in
Yes.
the university, what the product
Yes,
from the
yes.
university. So they
Yeah.
don't have any pain to make someone become a teacher, right?
Okay. For employability, once they have graduated, they will have to
Yeah.
sit for the SPP, which is the interview to become a teacher.
Oh,
The
interview.
interview.
Okay.
They need
Inter
to go through the
who will
interview
do the
and they need
interview,
to
doctor?
pass.
Who will do the interview?
The
Institution, I
the
mean, school
department
or
under the
department?
Ministry of Education. The department
Oh,
under the Ministry of Education. And they will place them in whatever government secondary schools that you have across Malaysia, even Sabah,
but then,
Sarawak, Borneo.
but the government doesn't need any certificate again, any other
Yes,
certificate to prove the teacher.
yes, yes,
Only from university, right?
yes, correct.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Yeah, it's a little bit different with Indonesia.
Yeah, I
Little
understand
bit.
that because in Malaysia, in Malaysia, English is seen as a second language, while in Indonesia, it's seen as a foreign language. So you have many other languages that are under
Yeah.
your constitution that is the main and official one. So I believe that it is a bit more difficult when it comes to being proficient in another language that is foreign,
All right.
But I believe that Indonesian students, they now understand the importance of learning at least basic English, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr.
Mm-mm.
Husna. Maybe
You're
my students,
welcome.
you can have a question to Dr. Husna, and you can ask everything, I think, regarding how to enhance your quality in English teaching. Because after
May I
graduating,
ask? May I
yeah.
ask if the master students are all teachers already, or are they fresh
Uh,
from
almost
bachelor?
them are teachers. Almost them are teachers.
Oh, they
Yeah.
are teachers already.
Yeah. Some of them are fresh graduate from
Mm,
undergraduate. They continue
mm,
to graduate, but
mm,
almost them, yeah, much of them are teacher
mm.
already. Hey, Pak Bahrul, even though you are a master of ceremony, if you have any question, no problem. You can ask Dr. Husna as well. Pak Bahrul is headmaster of one of school in Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
Pak Bahrul, you can have a question, yeah. Please, no problem.
We're still waiting the question from other participants.
Okay, if there is no question, no problem. Now we can continue our agenda, Pak
Oh,
Bahrul. So,
But I
yeah.
think I have a question to Dr. Noor Alhusna regarding
okay.
digital tools
Mm,
in our
mm,
school. Mostly our students, when we apply like a laptop or Chromebook in the classroom, they care more, to their laptop or Chromebooks, and it's a bit challenging for us as teachers to teach while using that media. So, can you share us actually how
mm.
that we can apply that digital tools in the classroom successfully, ma'am?
Okay. Thank you for the question. Oh, very interesting question. So you have tried this before in your class,
Yeah,
but the students are distracted with the tool.
yeah.
Is that it? Okay. Um, all right. This might be a little bit tough. Um, okay. When it comes to distraction, yeah, digital tools can actually become a distraction for the students because it is something new, right? It is something new that you give to your students and you expose to them. Maybe it's the first time of them actually viewing that product or that tool. Um, Chromebook, do you use Chromebook?
Sure,
Chromebook
yeah.
or tablets?
Chrome,
Tablets as well?
Chrome, Chrome.
Chromebooks. Okay, Chromebooks,
Yeah.
is it meant for reading or what do you do with the tool?
Actually, we have a kind of digital application that installed into the Chromebook. But students sometimes access not only the digital tools. I mean, like the
Mm.
application of us, they play game. They focus more at
Okay,
the Chromebook.
okay.
Actually, our students
Mm,
say they are familiar actually with
mm,
that device, but sometimes
mm,
they like to play game more.
okay, all right. Okay, that is a tough one. Okay. Um, all right, what I usually would, because this has actually become a problem of my students as well. They are trainee teachers in schools. So we typically go to visit them and see how they conduct the lessons, right? So one of the strategies that can be used is for you to um, control. Is there a way for you to control the time of using the device?
We normally use the device actually from the beginning of the class until the end because
Mm,
yeah, yeah, reading, listening. But when we explain in front of the class,
yeah,
sometimes they not only use that Chromebook to
right.
focus on the material,
Yes,
but
yes.
sometimes they
I
play
understand.
game.
Right.
So
They open other applications
yes,
inside
yes,
the
they open
Chromebook just to explore. Right, right. Yes, because they are digital natives, so they tend to do that. I would suggest for you to okay, for every instruction, it is good for you to group them up and make the device only available to one group only, not one per person.
okay.
Because then they are free to access anything while you are at the front giving instructions, right? So if you do this as a group rather than so limiting the access to the devices themselves at that particular time, especially not giving them the device when the instruction is given. So once starting the lesson, you give the instruction first, only then provide the device. And if there is some sort of control in terms of accessing or blocking certain features in the Chromebook that would disable access to them while doing it, that is also another strategy. But it depends on the device. You know, some device would allow that, some won't. And also setting a timer. I think it's a very important strategy to do. So once they have completed the task, you set the timer and say, okay, we have completed the task. Let us close the Chromebook and put it in front. We will access this again. We will have this again later. So each of the lesson has to be planned in a very structured manner so that the device does not cause a disruption to you in the flow of the lesson, and also it just becomes a tool for them to complete a task at that particular time. I feel that it's easier for you to control the app if it's an application. If you were in a computer lab or a computer room, only you have access to one computer And once they, if the activity surround themselves around exploring the application, they can come as a group and explore it in front of you with just one device. Um, Although, you want to do things sophisticatedly, having more devices to give to your students, I feel that there's better control if the teacher only allows a limited amount of devices to be used at once, um, to better control the class. Yes, I feel that may be a practical suggestion from me.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it is clear enough.
Thank you.
Okay, very well, everyone. I think if there is no participant that give the question or share the ideas.
Bahrul, I have a question, may I?
Okay, yes, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thanks a lot, ma'am, for your insightful sharing today, and for reminder that teachers need to keep learning and growing. So sometimes we are as non-native speaker, we even feel insecure about our own language proficiency.
Yeah.
So how can we build confidence while still aiming to improve ourselves language teachers? Maybe you can share some tips for us.
Thank you, Noraida. Very, very good question. Actually, this is very aligned to my current research. So I've been a researcher and a lecturer for quite some time now, and I've landed some few research grants when it comes to improving ways as to how to improve more on students' proficiency. So I have already completed two research grants, and all of these grants are aligned to one theme, which is on speaking anxiety. So you know what anxiety is, right? Like you feel nervous when you talk, you don't feel confident, you are unwilling to speak. Okay. So speaking anxiety. So what I have done, especially during the pandemic, because that was a good time for me to test out my work. So I resorted to online platforms to help my students to overcome or reduce their anxiety when they speak, because it could help them to gain more confidence and to practice their English speaking skills more better, with less, how do you say, with the absence of audience. So my current, I think this is a good research, and I feel that maybe I can give the link later to my paper. You can take a look and maybe read how I have conducted the research. Um, so I introduced vlogging, video blogging, to help reduce speaking anxiety, especially public speaking anxiety. So I did this to my group of students, my diploma students. They had a chance to actually explore using video blogs. So what they needed to do was just record themselves. What I feel most importantly, and as an outcome of finding from my research, is that most of them became very confident, and they spoke more comfortably using a video format compared to physically outside in front of a group of people. Why? Because the platform does not have any audience. Because sometimes when you have anxiety, right, you're nervous to speak because you are afraid of what people will judge you when they hear, when the listeners or the audience hear what you say. They will judge you, give a they will make a face to show that they disapprove. Okay, so one way to do this is to just eliminate audience. You do not have any audience in front of you. This can help. It's like the traditional way of practicing speaking, just in front of a mirror, right? It's exactly what you're doing. You just say whatever you want in front of a camera. But initially in the research that I made, my students, they were quite reluctant. They didn't want to speak in front of camera because they felt very strange. Like I look crazy when I, speak in front of a camera, right? But as I made them do it 4 or 5 times, okay, with different topics. So the first one, I gave them a very how do you say this? A very easy topic. Just introduce yourself for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, a 2 minute video. So they were initially they were shy, they were not really confident, they were speaking, they were very like self-conscious of how they look in front of camera and whatnot, right? But after that, they became very comfortable and talkative. After the first few videos, they became more comfortable with the environment where there's no audience in front and they can speak their mind, they can talk about what they want, regardless of making mistakes. It doesn't matter if they make grammar mistakes, it doesn't matter if what they say is not understandable because there's no audience. So I feel that may be a tip for you to improve more on your speaking skills and reduce your shyness or your feeling of not confident if you use a digital platform. You don't have to share it with the public. You don't have to share it on TikTok or whatever. It's just for your own safekeeping. Okay. Another grant that I used is similar to unwillingness to communicate, but this is at group level. For group level, I felt during the pandemic, I had to teach a course on communication. And one of the assignment or the task was for them to produce a role play. Do you know what role play is? It's like acting out a performance, right? Role play. So you act out a role and you are given a situation, so you act out with your friends in a group. So I didn't know how can I do this during the pandemic when everything is online. How can I do this? So I introduced them of asynchronous role play. Asynchronous role play means that the amount of acting is done individually. However, during the performance, they will string together their individual videos and they make up a story. So that was one strategy as well, but as a group lah, for you to communicate. Although it is done, um, although it is done individually, however, in groups, it felt that they were really living their role. They got really excited with their roles, and because there was no audience, they don't have to perform in front of an audience, so that is why they became more confident when they practice their performance online asynchronously. So that is another tip or strategy that you can use as a group when you communicate with your group mates or with your friends, but online. Like what we're doing now, you are there, I'm here, we are communicating, but we don't necessarily have to be doing this real time. It can be done asynchronously, meaning there will be delayed feedback when it comes to communicating. So that is another strategy that I feel this is very, very interesting topic. And when it comes to being nervous, shy, speaking anxiety, and this is what I'm doing. My current project now is I'm developing an emotionally intelligent chatbot to help with students to reduce their anxiety. So with the interaction with another person, a bot, a chatbot, those like customer service chatbots, right? You talk to the customer service, but not a living person. So I'm trying to see if whether the students feel less anxiety when they have a conversation with the chatbot. So that is my current research now. I'm not sure if there are any outside there, but I feel that there are many language applications that could help. For example, Elsa Speak and other avatars, other application tools to learn the language digitally and for you to improve your pronunciation and the way that you speak with a robot, I feel. Yeah, with a robot, a non-living person. So yeah, that's the in thing now. When we talk about virtual reality, we talk about artificial intelligence. So maybe you can try to venture and try this out. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Raida?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you for the question. I think there's another question in the chat box.
Yeah, that's right.
Hmm. Mhm.
Okay. So it's from Fadila. Yeah. Hi, I am Miss Fadila, who is currently teaching TESOL students. I have a question based on the quote you share on the screen. I truly agree with the statement. My question is, how can we ensure language teacher trainees become advanced learners without becoming overly dependent on AI tools like ChatGPT?
Okay, thank you, Miss Eva. Actually, Miss Eva is my former colleague. She's now moved to another university. Thank you, Miss Eva, for joining this session. Okay, very great question actually. How can we ensure language teacher trainees become advanced learners without becoming overly dependent? Okay, I face this all the time in all of my lectures and my, the assignments that I give to my students. They tend to rely on ChatGPT or other generative AI tools to help them with brainstorming and coming up with reports in order to answer the task or the assignment. So it's actually a policy of OC, right, or UPSI to, how do you say this? We are not accepting it if you are not using it ethically. We don't accept that. But we cannot not allow you to use it because AI is there for you to use it responsibly. Okay, so um, there must be some form of structure, and I feel that maybe more research and more trial and error can be done by English teachers in order to promote, not promote, but encourage the use of AI in their writing or improving the students, linguistic skills, but in a more structured manner. Okay, for example, we cannot just like macam, how do you say it? We just sweep it under the rug and just abandon. How do you say this? We don't. We use it. We let them use AI, but we just let them use it too freely without any form of structure. So what we can do is they would usually it's become like this. They will just search for the answer of our question and they will just copy and paste without doing anything. They just copy and paste. So what we can do is we can do it together with them. For example, for AI, it's very important when it comes to prompting, right? The prompting that you ask the AI what to do. If you ask ChatGPT, for example, okay, um, okay, how maybe if you ask about a certain topic where and you need to produce an essay, right? So what you can do is during the writing of that essay, the prompting can be used by you, and it can be shared, it can be taught by the teacher. Okay, so the lecturer will actually facilitate in their prompting during for the brainstorming session. However, for the write-up, they can use information in ChatGPT for their write-up, but they have to use it responsibly and ethically in an academic tone, by which they also need to add in referencing, in text citation, paraphrasing. These are all skills that are needed for them to be able to use AI effectively and ethically in academic writing. So we cannot disagree with them in terms of not using ChatGPT because it's there. It's there. It's a powerful tool actually for brainstorming, for generating ideas, and the ideas will be different according to different prompts. Right. So for the topic that you give, you can group them up into several groups and pose them different questions: how, why, what, where, when. So each group will be getting a different answer from ChatGPT. So when they get different answers, of course the write-up would be different, the points of view, the perspectives, angles of discussion will be different as well. So there are maybe three things that you can think of when you would want to, or you would not want them to um you would not want them to be overly dependent on ChatGPT is by doing it together with them. Doing it together with them in a structured manner, and the questions posed are not direct questions that are easily given by ChatGPT, it must be given in real life context, or you give them a case study. So it's difficult for ChatGPT to give an answer, right? Because it is highly contextual for that particular case or scenario. And then you can promote the ethical way of writing, which is through referencing in text citation and paraphrasing. That is very important. So yes, I hope that answers the question, Miss Eva. Somewhat would answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Noor Alhusna, and also to Mrs. Fadila, yeah, who has just shared her question. I think that is all for the question and answer session, because it is now 10 to 12. We need to end this session at 12. Very well, everyone. I think as a token of appreciation for her valuable insight and expertise, we would like to present Dr. Noor Alhusna Binti Madzlan with a certificate of appreciation. So Mr. Maslatif will be presenting the certificate to her. The time is yours, sir.
All right, Pak Bahrul, thank you so much for your master of ceremony. And we almost finished our event today, and I would like to express my gratitude and thank you so much for Dr. Dr. Noor Alhusna Binti Madzlan, for your awesome and your valuable insight given to us regarding your material for today, how to enhance our capability and quality in teaching English, especially. And at the end of this event, we would like to give you a certificate, doctor, and please don't see it just a certificate, but it's for your participation, become a speaker for our visiting lecturer in our university, especially for master English students program in our faculty and university. And my team, please provide the certificate. All right. Okay, Dr. Noor Alhusna Binti Madzlan, this is our certificate. And once again, thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am most honored.
Maybe sometime we can invite you meet us together by offline, not online again, but offline.
Yes,
Doctor.
I would very much love to.
And
I'd like
you
to
have to
see
go to
everyone.
Medan.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Yes.
I can accompany you go to Lake Toba, the international
I've been
lake.
there before. I've been there before. It's a beautiful
you have
place.
it? Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
I have about like maybe 12 years ago. Very long time ago.
12 years ago. Yeah, too long. Yeah. But maybe
Yes.
can bring you to
Inshallah,
another.
inshallah. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Okay, I can travel there. We can meet everyone physically and also share, our experiences, our knowledge, and perhaps maybe we can get our students to come with us as well to win Sumatra, so that yes, we can definitely continue our collaboration. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's a big honor for me to receive the certificate, and thank you very much, Dr. Maslatif. Hope for a more continuous collaboration to this.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, doctor, thank you so much for your participation today. And we're gonna have continuous participation and collaboration between our university,
most definitely, yes,
the others, student exchange and etc. And we can talk about this later. Okay, thank you, doctor, for your participation, for your willingness and etc. And God bless you. And I back to Pak Bahrul.
Okay, mashallah, tabarakallah. Yeah, thank you for both Mr. Maslatif and Dr. Noor Alhusna. And now, before closing this session, let's take a group of photo to capture this special moment, So I do expect to everyone, please turn on your cameras and smile to the photo. Ma'am Reflina will take it for us.
Coba yang lainnya
On all
tolong
cameras, please.
kamera ya. Open the camera, please.
Open the camera. Turn on your camera all.
Okay, one,
And
smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
And then the thumb, your thumb, please.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
And excellent for our study program. Dr. Husna, our symbol is like this one. For excellent, okay.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Good, thank you.
okay, thank you very much to Mrs. Okay, I think that's all the time we have for today's international visiting lecture. Thank you to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Noor Alhusna Binti Madzlan, for sharing her expertise with us. Yeah, we hope to take away valuable insight to enhance our teaching practices. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating. Let's close this presentation by reciting Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And I would like to say for final word, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Thank you again, Dr. Husna. God bless you. Thank you again. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we can leave the Zoom now because it is Friday. We need to go to mosque. Yeah.